Guns Drawn by Thomas Hyland. Dedication. First, I want to thank Almighty God who has bestowed upon me a talent with words. I may be a late bloomer with my own set of limitations, but I've been able to work through them. The second goes to my parents, Mark and Cindy, for being there for me during the good and bad times of my life. God has blessed me to have you both in my life, and I'll be forever grateful. The third one to the Canadian brothers, Joseph and Daniel Chaput, for their friendship. The fourth goes to the film writers group led by Lee Blaylock. The last dedication goes to the Bloody Red Baron himself, Mr. Mike Barron, the co-creator of Nexus and Badger. You're the best. The night was pitch black, and it was raining buckets. Thunder and lightning reigned supreme. It was a lonely part of the outskirts of a crooked city and flyover country among the land of the free. A house sat isolated in the sticks. Inside were 4 people, 2 living and 2 dead. The scent of foul play was dank. The 2 living souls sat in the kitchen area of the house. One wore black, the other wore gray. They were at the age of being mistaken for father and son. I made you, and now I'm going to kill you, said the man in gray. So in a way, we come full circle. Like that? Yeah, kid, like that. But that doesn't mean I'll like it more than you will. That's unless I kill you first, said the man in black. I'm packing as much as you are. That's true, and you taught me everything I know about killing. That's true as well, but I've been in this game longer than you. But that's not what it's going to come down to. You're right, kid. You see, what we have here is a Star Wars moment, you know what I mean? That cantina sequence between Han Solo and that green guy comes to mind. Yeah, what was that green guy's name? Come on, your knowledge of bullshit's better than mine. Greedo. Yeah, that's right, Greedo. But I'm confused. Why's that? You see, when I saw it back in '77 as a kid, it was Han who shot first. But when Lucas changed it later on in the '90s, Greedo shot first. The question is, which of us is going to shoot first? Exactly. Now, as much as I've enjoyed this, kid, we got to wrap it up pretty soon. The cleaning crew will be here any minute now to give 3 bodies a send-off. Wouldn't want to keep them waiting now, would we? So let's settle this. Yeah, let's do that. They went for their guns, and both men had managed to get them pointed and aimed at each other's chests at the same time. Neither of them fired, though, when they saw that they had each other in a kill shot at close range. They both laughed. Looks like we're both facing down the Reaper, said the man in black. We could end up going together. Well, we gotta go sometime, said the man in gray. Why not now? They both laughed some more until the sound of gunfire ensued. Abner's face was large and chubby, his eyes brown and well-rounded, while his body was of average build. What his boss couldn't see was what his wife of 8 years saw in him. She had the looks to be a pin-up girl for a men's magazine like Playboy if its heyday wasn't behind the times. To him, his wife was no different than any girl from the gentleman's club downtown. His attitude only created resentment from her, which would grow with time. He was dumb enough to think that nothing would ever change. He took for granted that she didn't have the guts to leave him because the way he saw it, her only saving grace was her body. Or so he had reasoned to himself. Besides, he'd ruin her before letting her go, and she was smart enough to know it too. She was nothing more than a canary trapped in a cage with a cat sitting outside and staring in. It was another rainy Saturday night, and Abner had the day off. During those days, he'd spend his time watching Tubi. Sure, life may have been dull at times, but compared to most, he was living on Easy Street. The doorbell rang. He, of course, heard it, but he had no intention of answering out of pure laziness. Answer the door, honey, he called out. Daisy Mae didn't respond from the other end of the house, and the doorbell rang a second time. This time, Abner got testy. Yo, honey, he called out. Answer the door. It's not going to open by itself. From the back of the kitchen, she answered with complete irritation. You're closer to the door, she retorted. Why don't you answer it? Abner laughed like the obnoxious prick that he was. That's a good one, honey, he called back. If you weren't hot, you'd be a comedian. I swear you could sell tickets. You'd be like Bill Burr with tits. The doorbell rang a third time, and again, nothing happened. Well, she called back. Today's one of my evenings off from paying the bills, he answered. I shouldn't have to do anything, not on my union break. The doorbell rang a fourth time. Pig, she spat from the kitchen. I love you too, honey. He laughed. Footsteps approached. Don't break a leg, he teased. Pig, she repeated when she got to the living room. By then, the doorbell rang for a fifth and final time. Abner continued to laugh it off while his trophy wife got to the front door and opened it. Standing outside in the dark of the night stood a tall, dark, and handsome man in black, getting soaked in the rain. He was the kind of guy a woman would die for, but also the type that was trouble with a capital T. May I help you? The man in black smiled. You must be Daisy Mae. I'm sorry, do we know each other? No, but your husband must have spoken to me. I work for his boss at the business. Do you mean Harvey? That's right. Daisy Mae smiled. Oh, what's your name? Duncan, he said. Dwayne Duncan. My husband doesn't talk about his job with me, so no, I'm afraid I haven't heard of you. Why, I'm crushed, he played, 'cause he talks about you like you're the apple of his eye. Now that I've seen you in person, I must confess that you're that and then some. She was instantly touched. Oh, you're so sweet. Now, let me guess. Abner is sitting in the living room, watching a Western, and halfway through a six-pack at this point. She laughed. You do know my husband. A little birdie told me. What kind of birdie? A real pretty one, he flirted. She must be some bird. She is, and she's quite a catch. I'd go as far as to say she's worth two in a bush. I would hope so. Abner at that point was wondering what was going on, but was too lazy to see for himself. Who is it, honey? Dwayne Duncan. He says he works for Harvey. Abner froze for a moment with that name ringing a bell in his head. Damn, he muttered under his breath. He put his beer aside to turn off the TV and turned on a Tiffany lamp near him before getting up to see for himself. When he joined his wife, his eyes went wide with surprise. Dwayne? He said, speechless. Hi, this is a surprise. What can I do for you? Well, for starters, do you mind if I step inside for a moment out of the rain? It's pretty wet and cold out here, and there's something we need to discuss. Of course, said Abner. Come on in. Abner and Daisy Mae stepped aside for Dwayne to enter before closing the door behind him. Can we offer you a towel to dry off? Asked Daisy Mae. Oh, no, thank you, said Dwayne with modesty. I won't be long enough to make a mess in your home. Oh, it's no trouble, said Daisy Mae. That was when Dwayne smelled dinner in the kitchen, which made his mouth water. Boy, something smells good, said Dwayne. We were about to have dinner, said Abner. From where I'm standing, it smells like your wife's a good cook. Would you like to join us? Asked Daisy Mae. Have you eaten? I was going to hit the drive-thru at Burger King after I left, said Dwayne. Yuck, that ain't eatin', said Daisy Mae. Why don't you eat with us right now? I wouldn't want to impose on you both. What I must say to your husband won't take too long. You wouldn't be imposing on us one bit, said Daisy Mae. Well, in that case, I'll join you both. Then it's settled then, she said. Why don't you give Abner your coat? Don't mind if I do, said Dwayne, removing his coat. He handed it over to Abner before following Daisy Mae into the kitchen. Abner dropped it on the nearest couch. Yet the last thing that Abner wanted to do was share a meal in his own home with Dwayne, and given the circumstances, he had every right to feel that way. You see, Dwayne was his boss's right-hand man. He acted as the blunt instrument that made problems disappear. Everywhere his boss, Harvey Bishop, known as the Bishop, went, Dwayne went with him. He was to Harvey what Harry Bennett was to Henry Ford. Often that would mean violence would ensue. And in the criminal underworld, violence often came with the job. The question on Abner's mind was, what was he doing in his home? And why wasn't the Bishop with him? Whatever it was, Abner had deduced that it couldn't be good. He was right. It wasn't good. Not by a yardstick. Abner followed his wife and guest into the kitchen. Boy, it sure looks good as it smells, said Dwayne. Wait until you taste it, said Daisy Mae. I can't wait. Sit down anywhere you like. Dwayne sat at the table. Daisy Mae set the table. What would you like to drink? She asked him. What do you have as far as booze goes? Shock Top or Blue Moon? Got anything stronger? I'm sorry, no. That's right. I remember now. Little Abner's taste in booze is a little simple for my taste. What else do you have? Well, we got iced tea, which I'll be drinking. Other than that, there's water or orange juice. I'll take orange juice. Okay. She went to the refrigerator in the kitchen and took out a bottle of orange juice before she grabbed an empty glass from a nearby cabinet. Here you go, she said. Help yourself. Not until after grace, said Dwayne. They bowed their heads and Dwayne led them. Lord, thanks for the food on this table and the company tonight. Keep us sharp and safe in this game. Amen. They dug in. You know, little Abner, you got yourself a hell of a cook under your roof. You should count your lucky stars. Oh, any woman can cook, she said. You've never visited my mama's kitchen when I was growing up. She couldn't boil an egg. Sounds like she needed to try, said Daisy Mae. I'd like to have seen that, Dwayne chuckled. Abner wanted to skip the small talk and get down to business. The way he saw it, the sooner Dwayne was gone, the better. So, what brings you here? He asked. Let's not talk business at the dinner table. I don't mind if you guys want to talk business. He never talks business with me. That's so? He won't. Why's that, little Abner? I make a conscious effort not to discuss my work at home. It's only a job to pay the bills. It's completely separate from my home life. Never mix business with pleasure. All right, nodded Dwayne. He looked over at Abner. That's a good way of looking at it. I can respect that given the nature of the business that we're in. Your job is pretty sheltered. Most guys and gals don't have it that easy. Work can be pretty strenuous, especially in our line of work. With that type of strain, there's certainly risk involved, and you got to be careful. You can never know what can happen. All it can take is one slip-up, and before you know it, it's curtains. Dwayne smiled. His smile made Abner uncomfortable. Ain't that right, little Abner? Dwayne and Daisy Mae laughed, but Abner was silent. Relax, buddy. Enjoy your meal. This is delicious, by the way. Thank you, she said. I'm glad you like it. Say, mind if I ask you something? Ask away. I'm curious. About what? Why do you call my husband little Abner? For where I'm sitting, he ain't so little unless you see something I don't. He never told you? No. Dwayne looked over at Abner. Geez, do you separate your business from your pleasure? Dwayne and Daisy Mae laughed. Abner was uncomfortable. Why don't you tell her? I'm sure she'd love to hear it from you. Tell me what? Go on, don't be shy. Abner took a moment to chew his food and clear his throat. Harvey is a connoisseur of comics from the old days. There's this one in particular called Little Abner. It appeared for over 40 years in the papers. It was a satirical strip that dealt with a town of impoverished hillbillies. The main guy's the 6'3", 19-year-old, simple-minded but sweet-natured boy with pint-sized parents. His name was Abner. Harvey got a kick out of calling me Little Abner since our last name is Little, and it just kind of stuck. Daisy Mae laughed. Well, it could be worse, honey. Dwayne laughed. Abner didn't laugh. Oh, that's not the best part, said Dwayne. What? Dwayne looked at Abner, who was at the point of blushing with discomfort. Tell her the best part. Go on now. Don't be shy. Yeah, please do tell, said Daisy Mae. Oh, come on. Yeah, tell her the rest. She'll get a kick out of it. You think so? Dwayne smiled at her. Do you trust me? Yeah, you'll love it. Dwayne looked at Abner. Go on. Tell her. His love interest is a blonde named Daisy Mae. Shut the front door. Dwayne laughed. Daisy Mae laughed. Wow, honey, I imagine that you never hear the end of that one. Not since he married you. Dwayne and Daisy Mae laughed, but for Abner, it was sheer agony. They even made a movie back in the day, he said. Who's in it? Well, they made 2 movies, said Dwayne, but according to Harvey, only the second one's worthwhile. Who's in it? The lady from the Manchurian Candidate played Daisy Mae. That Denzel Washington movie? No, shook Dwayne. Not that Bush-era pile of crap. I'm talking about the original, the classic, the Manchurian Candidate. You mean there's more than one? Well, there were 2, said Dwayne, both of which are from the book of the same name in Harvey's once-a-year reading list. Oh, she said. Yeah, said Dwayne. That told Abner enough. He didn't read anything outside a handful of authors. He would read and reread the same books every year, cranking out at least 2 a week. Daisy Mae, though, couldn't give a damn about reading. She was never much of a cinephile either, but knew a little bit from Abner's taste in cinema. Who wrote the book? She asked. Beats me, said Dwayne. Richard Condon, said Abner. Laughing, Dwayne and Daisy Mae looked at Abner. What's that? Said Dwayne. Richard Condon, repeated Abner. Condom? Said a confused Daisy Mae. No, Condon, Richard Condon. He wrote the book. It came out in 1959. The movie followed 3 years later in 62 and starred Frank Sinatra. And who played Daisy Mae? Asked Dwayne. Leslie Parrish, said Abner. And who's she? Asked Daisy Mae. She played Lawrence Harvey's love interest in the original film, but you wouldn't know her from Adam because she was in things you wouldn't care about, honey. The things that are important to me but not to you. Dwayne looked at Abner and wondered what his problem was. As Dwayne looked at Abner, he couldn't help but think, what a real prick this guy is. He had neither a sense of humor nor a sense of respect, thought Dwayne. He was too sensitive. He didn't like real sensitive men. To him, a sensitive man was a weak man, and the weak had no place in this world. There are two types of people in this world, winners and losers. The winner takes all, while the loser was either killed or enslaved as it was in the ancient days. It was a dog-eat-dog world, and to Dwayne, Abner was dog meat. You should learn to relax more, little Abner. Learn to laugh once in a while. Oh, he doesn't laugh so much when he's the butt end of the joke, said Daisy Mae. I don't think he ever does laugh, said Dwayne. It's against his nature. Oh, he laughs, said Daisy Mae, but when the joke's on me. Is that so? Said Dwayne. Yeah, she said. Well, that's not fair, said Dwayne. To my husband, the word fair isn't a two-way street. Abner didn't take too kindly to that comment. Hey, honey, come on. Well, it's true, she said. That's how it is? Yeah, honey, that's how it is. Abner shook his head in disgust. Let's not fight. Who said anything about fighting? I don't know. It seems like you're trying to pick one. Take it easy, little Abner. We're laughing. There are no cruel intentions to it. You don't need to get snippy with your wife over a few laughs. Come on, man. Abner backed down and tried to smile it off, which even for him was hard. Yeah, of course, you're right. I'm sorry, honey. I love you. I love you too, she said, pacified. They were quiet for the next few minutes while they ate. Dwayne looked at them both. They seemed uneasy with each other. He shook his head and smiled. Look at it this way, little Abner, said Dwayne. They both looked at Dwayne. There's 4 things a man should always say to a woman, or at least this is how it is in my experience. What's that? Asked Daisy Mae. A man should always say to a woman, I'm sorry. You're right. You don't look fat in those pants. And how much cash do you need? Daisy Mae laughed. If you say those 4 things, then you'll have a happy woman. With a happy woman comes a happy life for the man. Abner tried to laugh, but he couldn't hide his discomfort at the table. Daisy Mae enjoyed every moment of it and laughed harder than she ever had before. If you keep cracking me up like this, I'm going to pee myself. Well, we wouldn't want that now, would we? Said Dwayne. She slapped Dwayne on the arm in a playful gesture while she laughed. Stop, she said. Dwayne smiled. All right, boss, said Dwayne. It took her a moment to wind down the laughter. I'm pretty sure your woman is happy to have you as her man, said Daisy Mae. I would hope so, said Dwayne. Are you two married? She asked. Not yet, but I'm working on it. There's something that needs to happen beforehand, and it'll happen. I'm sure she's willing to wait, she said. I would hope so, but she doesn't have to wait much longer. Oh, yeah? She said, a little perked up. Yeah. I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that. I would hope so, said Dwayne. I kind of got the feeling that she's going to be happy, she said. Then that's good to know. Good. There was a moment of silence between them, an awkward kind that got Abner's attention. He looked at them both and saw this tug-of-war of emotions between them. Abner shook his head and shrugged it off. For the next 10 minutes, Abner picked at his food while both Daisy Mae and Dwayne finished theirs. Well, I've had enough, said Abner, who put his fork on the plate before him. Are you going to have dessert, honey? She asked Abner. What did you make? Peanut butter pie, she answered. His spirits had sunk even more. He hated peanut butter pie. She even knew that he hated it. You know I don't like peanut butter pie, he said. Well, I like peanut butter pie, so suck it up. She turned to Dwayne. Do you like peanut butter pie? She asked him. It happens to be my favorite, said Dwayne with a smile. Then you'll have a piece? She said. I'll have little Abner's piece as well, if you don't mind. I don't mind at all, she said. What about your husband? Do you think he'd mind? Let's ask him. She turned to her husband. Honey, I'm not the one that likes peanut butter pie, so why would I mind? She turned back to Dwayne. That settles it then, she said. It does, but I better have it after I've conducted business with your husband in the next room. Okay. It's some brief man talk. Shouldn't take too long. Do what you have to do then. Dwayne looked at Abner. Are you ready, little Abner? To Abner, that was a stupid question. Of course he was ready. Sure, we can do it right now if you like. I'll clear these dishes while you talk then. I won't be a bother to you guys. Okay then, said Abner. Let's go, little Abner, said Dwayne. They got up from the kitchen table and went into the living room while Daisy Mae cleared the table of the dishes. Once in the living room, they sat across one another. Dwayne sat on one of the love seats with a living room glass table between them. The only light in the room was from the Tiffany lamp nearby, which Abner had turned on earlier. They sat for a moment in an uncomfortable silence in the near darkness. Usually, Abner wasn't bothered by the lamp, but the dim glow emitting from the light made him very uneasy. He got an awful feeling about this meeting. He put up his best poker face, but Dwayne could spot the facade on him like a shark spotting blood in the water. You have a lovely wife. If I were you, I'd count my lucky stars. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. She's quite a woman. Too bad you don't respect her. What? You heard me the first time, so I won't bother repeating myself. She's as sweet as a bird as well. Abner felt a chill go down his spine. The uncertainty drove him to the edge of his nerves. I'm afraid I don't follow where you're going with this. You're in deep trouble, little Abner. Abner shook and struggled to keep his cool. He then laughed with a sense of unease. If this is some sort of joke, I'm sorry, but I'm not laughing. Dwayne laughed as well. Dwayne suddenly stopped laughing, got very serious, and said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Abner, but this is no joke. You're in deep trouble. Abner tried not to panic. What did I do? He said with confusion. There must be some mistake. There has to be. Sorry, there isn't. Abner got desperate and shook in his boots. But what did he do wrong? Dwayne, I don't know what's going on here. I really don't. All right, little Abner. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. About what? Let's start with you. How long have you been working in the business? Going on 12 years next month. And how many of them are with Harvey? Oh, I'd say 10 years and change. Wow, that's a while. Yeah? If I remember right, Harvey was a mid-level manager then, wasn't he? Yeah, I guess. Why? Only curious. And you were with him through his climb to the top of the food chain, too, am I right? Yeah, I was. And you've been with him ever since? Well, yeah. You've done very well under him, haven't you? I have. Do you mind if I stand, Abner, and pace a little? I apologize, but my legs stiffen up if I sit down for too long. That's why I don't go to the movies too often, but by all means, you stay seated. Okay. Dwayne rose from the love seat and started to pace back and forth in front of Abner. You got a good setup here, little Abner. Work pays off well enough for you to marry a sweet hot thing to play house with. Good deal for you, but not so much for your wife, if you ask me. What do you mean? I mean you're a pig, Abner. What's your point? You bang other women on the side while leaving your wife here to play housewife. And you haven't told me anything that Harvey doesn't know anything about. You know Harvey's son, Flynn? Yeah. Do you know his girl, Lacey? No. Then why are you banging her? Abner froze. What? Why are you banging Flynn's girl, Abner? Come on, don't lie to me about it. You've been meeting with her to take her to bed. What? You got to give me a better answer than that. Abner hesitated. Relax. Harvey isn't too broken up about it. He's tickled up that Flacey isn't a thing anymore. After all, she was a claptrap wanting to blow up in Flynn's pants, so better yours than his. I don't understand. What's there not to understand? I admitted about Lacey, but what's the issue then? Oh, that. Well, there's a matter of $5 million that went missing. Wait, what now? It sure was a surefire way to put yourself on Harvey's bad side, I'll give you that. Wait. Don't you know that there are some things you should never do where you eat? Abner suddenly lost his cool. I had nothing to do with the theft of any funds, he claimed. This is the first I've heard of any theft. You're the accountant. How could you not? Are you incompetent? No. Then you're saying you did take the money. No, I didn't. Either you're a thief or you're incompetent. Either way, it's a firing offense because you're out of a job, pal. You're lucky we could recover the money, which would be bye-bye birdie the hard way from the get-go. I'm being set up here, I'm telling you. Dwayne laughed. You know, you sound like a broken White Album stuck on helter-skelter in the Manson family home. Forget it, little Abner. You're boarding the next train to the big adios right after Lacey. Wait, what? Where's Lacey? Let's say I don't think she passed the pearly gates. You killed her, didn't you? I didn't have to. You know how much of a hothead Flynn is. He'll go off the handle when someone looks at him funny. How do you think he'll react when he finds out you're banging his girl? Abner fell silent. It dawned on him as he sat there like a deer in the headlights that he too would soon be dead as well. Did he face it like a grown-up? No. He began to beg and cry. Please, don't. You don't have to do this. Dwayne stopped in his tracks and faced him down with disgust. Oh, come on, little Abner. You're not even going to face the music like a man. I'll leave. I'll go away. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Please. Dwayne shook his head. All right, then, said Dwayne, taking out his gun. It's your death, not mine. Dwayne, like the pro he was, executed Abner with a single shot to the heart right in his love seat. He took a moment to stand over Abner's cold corpse, looking down at his lifeless, wide-open eyes, looking right at him. After a moment, he turned from the dead man and froze when he spotted Daisy Mae in the far corner of the living room, in the dark. She was watching the whole time. How long have you been watching? He asked. Long enough to see the finish. Dwayne walked across the room towards her to stop halfway there. You didn't have to watch. She in turn walked across the room to meet him, stopping mere inches from him. I wanted to. I know. They hugged and leaned on each other. You're doing good, little birdie. It's almost over. So what happens next? A cleaning crew is on its way as we speak to dispose of the body. Shouldn't take any more than an hour. The house is yours, and Harvey said the mortgage will be paid off by the end of the month. Afterward, you have the option of selling the house and keeping the profits from the sale. With the demand for homes in this area, you'll get double what he paid back when he got it. Daisy Mae laughed. It's funny. What is? He told me when he bought it that it would be our forever home. I didn't even get to see the place till after we had married when he bought it. And you know what? What? He could have done better. Much, much better with the kind of money he was making. The stupid fool thought he was top-notch when it came to class. He'd spend his days watching those westerns he thought were such high art. Ha! He didn't know what high art was. If he did, he would have gotten a house in Bedford Falls up in the hills 20 minutes from where the real high rollers are. Instead, he decides to settle for a house in Sweet Mary, which I must admit is a step up from where I came from, but not that high up the way I see it. She laughed. Cheap bastard. She spat. The extra money he could have spent to get us into Bedford Falls he spent on his whores. I'm glad he's dead. He is now, that's for sure. They both laughed before they looked into each other's eyes and kissed. How long before we can tell Harvey about us? Well, as far as Harvey knows, we've only seen each other a handful of times with him around. Our official story will be that a month from now we started to see each other. I figure we can make it official, I'd say 4 months or so after. He does occasionally speak of you, and around then I'll tell him when we started seeing each other. He doesn't need to know what we've been doing, getting steady for about 6 months. One thing's for damn sure, though. What's that? I'll sure treat you a damn sight better than your husband ever did. You damn well better. They both laughed, and then they kissed. But you're sure he won't find out about it? I mean, I know you said that Harvey didn't like Lacey and was glad to have an excuse to get rid of her, but Abner was good to him. Should he ever find out? He won't. But what if he does? Well, to tell you the truth, he might get a kick out of it. Oh, yeah, you see, let's say that Harvey kind of had a little crush on you and he told little Abner to treat you better, or he was going to lose you. She laughed. If he were over a decade younger, he would have made a move on you himself. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Jesus, he's old enough to be my father. For all I know, he could be my father with how much my mama got around in her day. Dwayne laughed. But what about Flynn? What about him? Lacey was his favorite girl. Should he find out? Harvey's dealt with his only son in such moods before, and every time he's kept him on a tight enough leash to keep him from exploding. Besides, he'll already have moved on to a different girl in, I'd say, a week from now. You sure? Flynn may be Sonny Corleone in spirit, but in the brains department, he's a Fredo that'll do whatever his papa tells him. Did you cover your tracks? Absolutely. I took care of it myself. I had the money taken and put into an account in their names. Harvey doesn't suspect a thing. Besides, he requested me to look into little Abner when you came to us as we had planned. I even went as far as to do an audit myself, and locating the account was the nail in the coffin for them both. Are you sure? Honey, it's my word against the word of a dead man. Besides, Flynn was on board from the get-go when he found out about their affair. A week from now, Lacey won't even be in the back of his mind. They kissed again, but they were interrupted by the ringing of Dwayne's cell phone. Hold on a sec, he said upon taking out his phone. He looked at the screen. I gotta take this. Give me a moment. Who is it? It's Monty. I'll be a moment. He stepped away into the living room to answer the phone. Yeah? I did. What's wrong? What? When did... Right. We'll be here waiting. Bye. Dwayne hung up the phone, but he didn't turn around to face Daisy Mae at first. He stood where he was with his back to her like he was trying to process some news that was hard to swallow. Right away, she could sense that something was wrong. Dwayne? She began to get worried. So did he. They needed to be. What's wrong? Talk to me. He turned around to face her. Harvey's dead. What? I said Harvey's dead. What happened? I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? Honey, calm down. She was far from calm. Calm down. You know how much of a loose cannon Flynn is. Honey, Dwayne said calmly. With Harvey gone, there's no telling how Flynn... Dwayne approached Daisy Mae and took her in his arms to soothe her. Honey. With Harvey dead, there's no telling how Flynn... Honey. We'll react now, you said... Honey, he snapped, getting her attention at that point. It's going to be okay. Calm down. We can't lose our heads. We got to think fast and hard. Dwayne let her go. He started to pace back and forth, tense as hell, and rub the back of his neck with one hand. He was thinking under pressure. What did Monty say? She asked. He didn't tell me a whole lot. Well, what exactly did he say? Well, for now, the cleanup crew isn't coming because everyone's on alert now. What else? He's on his way here. And? He told me we needed to hang tight and have a pot of coffee ready for him to make in the kitchen. That means he's going to talk, and when he talks, it means something big went down and he's got to lay down the law. Lay down the law? What do you mean? Harvey's dead. Someone pulled the tail of a snake, and now someone's going to get bit. Us? Not necessarily. It could be that he may want to feel me out. Lord knows that with Harvey gone, there's a power vacuum now. Flynn will make a move to fill the void for sure. Do you think Monty will make a move as well? It's possible. He may just want to prevent Flynn from taking over. You know how Flynn is. He's too unpredictable with his mood swings. He could put the whole business in jeopardy. So everyone says. Did he say anything about Abner? He asked if I had taken care of him yet, and I told him I did. How did he react to that? That's the thing. I can't tell. What do you mean? I mean, I can't exactly say, but I can say that he didn't sound too happy about it. What did he say then? Harvey was killed. Did he say who killed him? He didn't say. When was he killed? About 10 minutes ago. Where was he killed? I don't know. Baby, you gotta do better than I don't know. I know that, but he didn't say where he died. You could have asked. Dwayne shook his head. What else happened? Did he say he was there when it happened? He wasn't there. Then how does he know? He said that he got a call about Harvey's death. Who did he get the call from? He didn't say. Then he could have killed him for all we know. Don't get thick on me, honey. Then he could have killed him for all we know. Don't get thick on me, honey, he bit. I've known Monty since I was a little kid. He was in like Flint with Harvey then. Damn it, he was the one who brought me to Harvey when the two of them were starting out when I was 12. Can you be sure? Yes, honey, I'm sure. Can you? He and Harvey were like brothers, he said with irritation. And Monty was more of a father than my old man ever was to me. Not that my old man ever cared about me. Monty did. He was there for me when I needed a father in my life. So don't you ever insinuate that Monty isn't what he is to me, okay? Do we understand each other? She realized that she may have overstepped herself, so she backpedaled a bit. I'm not trying to insinuate anything, babe. Then what are you doing? What's with the 50 questions? Tell me that because it's not very smart coming from you, and I know you've got more brains than that. She paused to consider her next words. She knew that she had better do so, for even she knew not to be on his wrong side. Okay, let me try a different approach. I know you killed Abner, but is Lacey dead? Yes. But you didn't kill her yourself. No. Did you see her get killed? No. Where was she killed? I mean, how did it play out? Again, what is it with the 50 questions? I'm starting to get pissed off here. I know, I'm sorry, but please play along with me for a moment here. Please, babe, go along with it here, please. Where were you? I was at my place when I got the call from Monty that they had picked up Lacey. He said that Flynn was going to take care of her himself. And did he? While I was halfway there, I got word from Monty that Flynn took care of her and gave me the go-ahead to take care of little Abner. Did he say anything else? He told me that Flynn would have a powwow with Harvey immediately afterward. Wait, why? Why would he want to talk to his dad alone after killing Lacey? What did he say to Flynn before he killed her? Or Did he kill her? What if she talked him into killing his dad? Now you've got a loose cannon and a scorned whore whispering hateful nothings into his ear. She could have filled his head with some cock and bull story that I set her up. Then after killing his dad, he sent Monty here to make sure that you killed me. Dwayne didn't buy it, not one bit of it. If they wanted you dead, then why didn't Monty tell me on the phone to kill you myself? Why would he need to be here to ensure that I kill you? What if Flynn told him to come down here not only to make sure that Abner and I are both dead, but to kill you as well? Has it ever occurred to you that he doesn't look at you the way you look at him? What if both she and Flynn knew about us somehow? What if they were planning something on their own? What's your point? What if it's not safe for us anymore? Are you suggesting that we run for it? It wouldn't be such a dumb idea. Not dumb, but not smart. What do you mean? Where would we go where we wouldn't be looking over our shoulders for the rest of our lives? And how long do you think we'd last? Some are good at finding the people who do what you're now suggesting. I know a few in particular. So does Flynn. No, honey, we can't run. If we did, we wouldn't be safe as long as Flynn was alive and in charge. The only real way out would be to deal with Flynn on my turf, not away from it. And besides, do we know what's going on? We got to know how the field looked before we made a move one way or the other, but we're not running, and that's final. Dwayne took her in his arms and tried to comfort her. She, in turn, took him back for emotional support. If it comes to it, we fight it out. That would be our only option should push come to shove, but it might not come to that. It might be that you're taking it way out of proportion. That idea of Lacey still being alive and whispering hateful nothings into Flynn's ear was your idea, and that's all it is, and it's an idea you shouldn't be entertaining. She started to cry a little. She wanted to believe him. She did. Now you had a hand in killing your husband. I know how you felt about him the same way that I did, but he was still your husband. It was also your first kill. Now, killing's the easy part. Living with it's the hard part. If you keep killing, when you look into their faces as they give up the ghost, it's not their faces that you see. It's always the face of the first person that you killed. Justified or not, that face always haunts you every time. She closed her eyes, and in her mind she could see her husband's face upon his death. It was in her mind, rent-free. She would like nothing more than for that face to go away, but she knew right then and there that it never would. It would haunt her forever until her death. Let me ask you something else. Do you see yourself answering to Flynn should he be the one that takes over? When the time comes, I'll know when to make my move. And what about others, like Monty? Would they be with you or against you? It won't come to that. Don't lie to yourself. I won't. That'll be the day. Instead of arguing with her, he decided to shrug it off, which he did since he wanted to move on. Even so, it did rattle him a little. Deep down, he knew there was a possibility that she was right, but he didn't want to believe her. Instead of arguing with her, he decided to shrug it off, which he did since he wanted to move on. Even so, it did rattle him a little. Deep down, he knew there was a possibility that she was right, but he didn't want to believe her. And he didn't because he looked at Monty Hellman as the father he should have had. He didn't want to think that his surrogate father could ever betray him, but that didn't mean he was stupid. Anything was possible in the life he lived. He chose not to believe it. When it comes to the family you choose, denial is a potent thing. In Dwayne Duncan's case, it was a flaw in his character that could very well someday get him killed. Let's go in the kitchen and get the coffee out and ready for Monty to make it in the pot, he said. That means he's going to make it black. Knowing him, he'll bring us sugar and want to serve us. That's his routine. Whenever he and Harvey were over, never would he ever let me make it. And always he made a show of serving the coffee himself. That's Monty for you. Why does he do that? You know, I asked him that once, and he said that one day he'd tell me that story, someday at the right moment. When do you think that'll be? Who knows? Maybe never. True, she agreed. Come on, let's get it ready. They both went into the kitchen. Daisy Mae went about the kitchen to get her coffee maker ready. She got the coffee beans out and prepared for Monty to make it himself when he arrived. Dwayne, meanwhile, wandered to the empty dining room table. What he wanted at that very moment was a strong, stiff drink. I could use something strong to drink at this point, to be honest. You and me both, babe. It's a shame that little Abner didn't let you stock up on the hard stuff. This place sure would have been more lively. How about some more orange juice? I know you'll drink that at least. Why not? I'll picture it mixed with vodka when I drink it. She laughed. By then she had finished getting the coffee materials out and ready. There's the peanut butter pie I made for you, but with what's happening, I've lost my appetite. Me as well. I'm sorry. Some other time. I'll let you take the whole thing with you before you leave. Aren't you going to have some for yourself? I made it for you, babe, so enjoy it when you do eat it. I will, he smiled. She handed him a glass of orange juice. They both headed over to the table and sat across from each other. He nursed his orange juice while she waited in an uncomfortable silence. "What are we doing here?" she said, breaking the silence. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what are we still doing here? This is crazy. You know it and I know it. We gotta see where this takes us. We'll never have any peace if we don't." "I get it, but I don't think that's why you're willing to sit it out." "Then why am I?" "Because you don't want to lose the father you have in Monty. To you, he's the father that you should have had." "It's complicated." "I got time to listen." Dwayne got a little uneasy, and she could see it. "I'm interested, that's all." He got uncomfortable thinking about it. It was a sore subject for him. He usually wasn't one to dwell on his feelings. That came with his chosen life. Doing so would only show weakness, a move that would prove fatal. A life of crime was like the animal kingdom. Even a hint of sentiment would be enough to put one at the bottom of the food chain. However, in Daisy Mae's case, he was comfortable around her. Besides, she needed it. A compromise was thus required on his part to open up to her. "I was a little boy then. I couldn't have been no older than 6. My father was long gone by then, and my mom was a junkie. There's no one there for me during those years. I had to fend for myself in the streets to scrape by for a meal. There was this watch house that was a front for the business. I'd gotten a hold of a toy gun that I polished a little to make it look real. I went in there around lunchtime and tried to stick up the joint. I was stupid and desperate. And young," she added. "That didn't help. So what happened? Monty happened to be there. He knew right away that my gun was fake, and he yanked it right out of my hand and gave me a whipping. Then, when I was 12, he introduced me to Harvey, and, well, the rest is history." Dwayne smiled as he looked back at those moments with fondness. "Yeah, he was the father I should have had, but you can't choose who brings you into the world. But I damn well would choose Monty in a heartbeat if I could, hands down." She looked at him like he wasn't living in the real world. He saw it, and he didn't like it one bit. "What? I trust Monty with my life." "And mine?" He reached out to her, took her hand, and leaned over to talk softly to her. "I trust him. Do you trust me?" "Of course I do." "Then trust my judgment, please, honey." "Do you trust me?" "Of course." "I love you and I trust you, but your love for Monty as a father figure may jeopardize our lives if you're wrong." "Look into my eyes, honey." She looked deep into his confident and well-intentioned eyes. "I'm not wrong on this one. Put your faith in that." "Faith never moved mountains, babe. It never did, no matter how hard you want it to. The only way to move them is to make them move. But there's some things we're never meant to move." Dwayne hesitated a moment. "What if you're wrong?" The doorbell then rang. It was Monty. They both looked toward the front door as the doorbell rang. "That must be Monty. Wait here." Dwayne left her at the table to answer the door, where she sat shaken but quiet. Monty Hellman, Harvey Bishop's second in command, was dressed in a suit like Dwayne's, but gray, whereas Dwayne's was black. Unlike the street thug that was Dwayne, Monty could have passed for a cowboy. If it were to happen, he would likely beat Sam Elliott in a Sam Elliott look-alike contest. He was handsome, but far more dangerous than Dwayne, because he had what Dwayne lacked. That was age and experience. He was a man past 50 with the experience one got from being around long enough to know better. That was something Dwayne had lacked by a yardstick. "Hello, kid." "Hello, Monty. Come on in." Monty stepped inside out of the rain while Dwayne closed the door behind him. "Where's Daisy Mae?" "She's in the kitchen, waiting for us." "You took the time to have supper as well?" "When I arrived, she had it ready to serve. Why waste a meal? And besides, you told me to take my time. There's no hurry. I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. I did tell you to take your time. Where's little Abner?" "He's over there." "Take me to him." "Sure." Dwayne led Monty into the heart of the living room where the cold corpse of Abner sat on the love seat. Monty took a moment to examine him while Dwayne stood by and watched. Abner's eyes were still wide open, and Monty took a moment to close his eyes with his right hand. Upon doing so, he looked over at Dwayne. "You could have closed his eyes at least." "He won't know the difference anymore. Dead men don't care." "But the eyes tell a story." "What kind of a story?" "The kind that can haunt you in the back end of your mind by looking at them. Never give them a place in your mind rent-free." "Sure, I'll remember that." "Let's go into the kitchen." When they entered the kitchen, Daisy Mae made a move to rise from her chair, but Monty was quick to stop her. "No need to stand up. You can stay seated." She sat back down. Why don't you sit down as well, kid? Monty looked over at the coffee maker on the counter and saw that it was ready for him to make. I see you got the stuff out for me to make the coffee for you, me, and Daisy Mae. I remember that you don't drink coffee, do you, kid? Never have, never will. That sounds final. I'm good with orange juice. All right, then. Monty went up to the coffee maker and began making the coffee. He kept his back to them for the duration. So what's the word, Monty? What happened? I'll get to all that once I've served the coffee. Give me a few moments. Should we be worried? Kid, what did I tell you about worrying? Worry doesn't make life go any faster, so why bother? There's your answer, girl. She looked over at Dwayne worried, but decided not to say another word. Monty carried on as he made the coffee. I've taught you well, kid. You've done well for yourself. Thanks, Monty, said Dwayne, wondering where this was going. You've come a long way from the feral street kid who tried to hold up a watch shop with a toy gun. You had guts, but you were desperate and lost. But you were there. That I was, kid. I gave you the whipping of all whippings, but one look in your eyes and I saw your potential. It needed to be honed. You took me in after that. Yeah, I did, and I didn't have to, but I did. And I'll forever be grateful to you, Monty. I know you are, kid. I took you in, I nourished you, I gave you direction and purpose, something you never got from your old man or mama. You did. I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for you. At that moment, the coffee finished brewing. Monty poured 2 cups and added his stuff to each of them out of sight of both Dwayne and Daisy Mae. And you've made me proud. A father couldn't have been more proud. Monty then took both cups and turned around to join Dwayne and Daisy Mae at the head of the table before them. He handed Daisy Mae her cup, and they each took a sip. Did I put too much sugar in yours? A little more than usual, but it's fine. What can I say? He smiled. I like it sweet. I know you've heard me say this many times, but you do know that adding the amount of sugar you add isn't good for you. Of course it's not. It may be bad for you, but it's still good. If it weren't good for you, then it would taste like shit. Life is too short, so why waste it on the good stuff that tastes like crap when we can enjoy the bad stuff that's crap for you? In the end, we all die one way or the other. That's a cold, hard fact of life. We only get one life on this earth. And after that, who knows and who cares? Heaven, hell, who's to say? But the reality of the matter is that how we live with the life choices we make determines where we live right here on earth. And that's heaven or hell, the realities we create for ourselves. In other words, heaven and hell are states of mind, and how we live determines which of the two we'll live in, said Dwayne. Exactly, kid, said Monty. Monty took a sip of his coffee and looked at Daisy Mae. Let's start with you, girl. You've said so yourself that you were born on the wrong side of the tracks, so to you, you're born in hell, so you're faced with a choice. Do I succumb to apathy and lie in the bed I was born in, or do I walk away to a bed of my own making that'll be a step up from where I was before? Monty, No, let me finish. Sorry. That's okay, girl. It's what it is. Like all beds, it has its own set of bed bugs that you start to notice after a while. Now, you decided to marry your way out of it, and it soon starts to wear on you. By that, I mean little Abner. He was a man of certain flaws, which rubbed you wrong in ways that made you feel like you had traded one hell for another. Who could blame you for wanting out, but you got desperate. Monty then turned to Dwayne. And desperation can make us restless, doesn't it, kid? At that moment, they both realized that they had been caught. Their fear intensified with each passing word from Monty's mouth. Monty then turned back to Daisy Mae. So what do, girl? You turn your charms on the meanest, baddest cat to get him to pull you out of the hell that you put yourself in. Daisy Mae shivered. Monty, I have now, girl, chastised Monty. There's no point in lying your way out of it. We've known about you and Dwayne for some time. Dwayne turned white with fear. Daisy Mae, while scared as well, was at the same time surprised. You knew? Of course we did, and Harvey and I didn't care. That was when it became clear to Dwayne. Harvey's not dead, is he? No, kid, he ain't. Then why all the deception? Asked Daisy Mae. He knew I would have stayed put, said Dwayne. It was his way of keeping me here. Daisy Mae looked at Dwayne, who looked like a wounded puppy. I told you, she said to Dwayne. You always were a smart girl, said Monty. Too smart for your own good. If you and Harvey are fine with Dwayne and me, then what's the issue? You're forgetting about your husband, girl. Now that whole ruse that you two pulled about the money took brass balls, and it would have worked too. What made it fall apart? Asked Dwayne. Kid, the moment you winged Lacey into the whole thing, you're pulling the tail of a snake. All you were going to get from that was bitten. Flynn, said Dwayne. That's right, kid. Harvey was more than happy to end Lacey. She was a claptrap waiting to happen. It would have created problems with Flynn, and kid, you know the kind of problems Flynn can pull when he's in a foul mood. Now, Abner may have been a pig, but Harvey always liked him, and so did I. He was dependable. You two could have handled Abner any other way. But linking him to Lacey and setting them both up to take the fall because you couldn't keep your flies zipped. Not cool. Now that both Abner and Lacey are dead, you got both Harvey and Flynn sore at both of you. And kid, that puts me in a bit of a pickle. The kind I've got to fix it in an indelicate way. Daisy Mae began to feel strange in an uneasy way that was getting worse with each successive moment. What's the matter, girl? I don't feel so good. That you don't, agreed Monty. You don't look so surprised, kid. Daisy Mae looked at Dwayne to see that he had become detached and broken. Dwayne? She said. Dwayne remained silent. Dwayne once asked me a long time ago why I'm always the one to serve the coffee. I didn't tell him, but it didn't take him long to learn why. So for your benefit, girl, I'll tell you the story. Daisy Mae got worse as Monty told his story. My mom went away for killing my old man. She couldn't handle being his punching bag whenever he got liquored up. So one morning while we were having breakfast, she poisoned his coffee and he died right at the table in front of us. I looked at my mama, who had always told me to ensure I was serving the coffee. I asked her why. She said it was about control. Always be the one in control. The moment you give that up, you're already dead. You don't know it until it's too late. I never knew that about your mother, said Dwayne. It wasn't your place to ask, and you're smart enough never to do so. But you learned about the coffee when you first saw me serve it to your mom when you were 15. It never surprised me that you never drank coffee after that. I never blamed you, but that day you should have learned not to look up to me so much. But your hate for your mom had turned you sour on life. You mean, said Daisy Mae. That's right, girl. I poisoned your coffee, and your man knew what I was going to do the moment I told him to have the coffee ready for me to make when I arrived. She looked at Dwayne with shock and agony. He remained detached but hurt within his soul. Dwayne, baby, you used him, girl, and he wasn't dumb enough to see it. She looked at Monty. But sure, you showcased your snatch to him, and he liked it good enough to fill it up for you when Abner wasn't around to do so himself. And he did fall for you as you fell for him, but Dwayne's like me. He was hurt enough times in his life to know that love is only temporary. It doesn't last forever. It didn't with you and Abner, now that you gave much of a damn for him. She looked at Dwayne with her heart pierced. He looked at her as well, who remained broken and detached. Tell me it isn't true, she said. Dwayne didn't respond. Tell me, she begged. Dwayne remained silent. Please, she pleaded. You're wasting your breath, girl. You used him to kill your husband. What would have stopped you from using some other fella to kill him down the road when you fell out of love with him? He wasn't going to marry you. He had no intention of doing so. In 6 months, you would have been dead yourself once he saw that he couldn't get out of marrying you. You're a dead girl walking. You were too blind not to see it. I saved him the trouble. He's a killer. He always has been. He always will be to the day he goes to his grave. Sorry, girl. Near death, Daisy Mae mustered enough strength for one more plea. Dwayne? Dwayne remained stone silent at the table as Daisy Mae succumbed to death across from Dwayne. He looked at her as she died. His feelings on watching her die were both indifferent and mixed. He then looked at Monty. It was them then, and only them. A man in black and a man in gray. A man in black and a man in gray sat in the kitchen of a house with 2 dead bodies, and more dead bodies were to follow. She fell for you, kid. She did. You did as well. I know. It hurts, doesn't it, kid? Dwayne didn't say anything. Well, are you going to say something, or are you going to sit there with that sad, pathetic look on your face? To tell you the truth, it doesn't look too good on you. To tell you the truth, it does hurt. He looked at Monty. But the pain of losing her is nothing to the realization that you would turn on me. I never imagined that the man who should have been my father would send me to the gallows. But I'm not your father. I never was, and I never wanted to be. The truth of the matter is that I saw potential in you as an asset to me down the road. In many ways, you proved to be very valuable to both Harvey and me. The truth is that I didn't kill your mother because she was a danger to you, which she was, for the record. There's no denying that. Then why did you kill her? Good question, kid. Well, your mother wanted to get clean and take you back. Now, that I think she would have been capable of sobering up? No. But there's always a chance of me being wrong. She'd be an obstacle to you getting into the business. And it was the business that sent your old man to the gallows. What are you talking about? Said a confused Dwayne. My old man walked out on me when I was little. My mom said so. Yeah, she did tell you that. She told you that because you're too young to know that your old man didn't walk out on you, but he's gone. What do you mean? I grew up with your old man, and we went into the business together. He was ambitious like you, but unlike you, he was a screw-up. And you know what the business does to screw-ups? There's no place for them. It fell on me to let him go. You're lying. Am I, kid? Look in my face and tell me, am I lying? Dwayne looked into his face and saw that he wasn't lying. Everything he had believed about his father and his surrogate father was all a lie. You know I'm not lying to you. You've known me long enough to tell when I'm lying to you, and this ain't it. Now, your mom, she knew the truth behind your old man's death. She even knew that I had a hand in it, and she didn't take it well. That's when she became a junkie, which didn't help you. But I kept my eye on you both. And while your mom was a dead woman walking, I saw what it did to you, and I took notice. There was the truth when Nietzsche said that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It was making you strong. I saw that. It was no coincidence that you found me in that watch shop the day you tried to hold it up. I followed you there, and had I not, you'd been killed since that store was one of the fronts for the business. It was because of me that you were kept alive, and because of me that you were able to get into the business the way you did. Your mom had enough sense left in her to see what I was doing towards the end. She threatened to tell you that I had in letting her old man go. That's when she had to go. Otherwise, I would have lost you for good. And knowing you, it would have been a matter of time before you'd move to kill me when you got a little older. So you see, kid, you are who you are because of me. I made you, and now I'm going to kill you. So in a way, we've come full circle. Like that? Yeah, kid, like that. But that doesn't mean I'll like it more than you will. That's unless I kill you first. I'm packing as much as you are. That's true, and you taught me everything I know about killing. That's true as well, but I've been in this game longer than you. But that's not what it's going to come down to. You're right. You see, what we have here is a Star Wars moment. You know what I mean? That cantina sequence between Han Solo and that green guy comes to mind. Yeah, what was that green guy's name? Come on, your knowledge of bullshit's better than mine. Greedo. Yeah, that's right, Greedo. But I'm confused. Why's that? You see, when I saw it back in '77 as a kid, it was Han Solo that shot first. But when Lucas changed it later on in the '90s, Greedo shot first. The question is, which of us is going to shoot first? Exactly. Now, as much as I've enjoyed this, kid, we got to wrap it up pretty soon. The cleaning crew's going to be here any minute now to give 3 bodies a send-off. Wouldn't want to keep them waiting now, do we? So let's settle this. Yeah, let's do that. They went for their guns, and both men had managed to get their guns pointed and aimed at each other's chest. Neither of them fired, though, when they saw that they had each other in a kill shot at close range. They both laughed. Looks like we're both facing down the Reaper, said Dwayne. We could end up going together. Well, we all gotta go sometime, said Monty. Why not now? They both laughed some more. 2 shots were fired, 1 from each gunman. One man limped out of the kitchen into the living room with a fatal wound. He dropped his gun before leaving the kitchen. It was Monty. He fell to his knees. His wound was mortal. As the rain continued to pour down outside, the doorbell rang. Charlie, come in. I need a doctor right now. The front door opened and a lone man in white entered the house, drenched from the rain. He was tall and handsome. Upon entering, he left the door open and stopped halfway to Monty, looked down at Monty, and shook his head. You don't look so good, Monty. I'd say you're slipping. It was Flynn. What are you doing here, Flynn? Where's Charlie and the cleanup crew? I need a doctor. I can see little Abner over there. Where's Dwayne and Daisy Mae? They're in the kitchen dead. I need a doctor. Flynn shook his head. He smiled. It was the smile of the devil. From where I'm standing, I don't think a doctor's going to help you one damn bit. Besides, we got some business to settle before we get to brass tacks. What business? Coughed Monty. What are you talking about? Your retirement. Why are you here? Where's Charlie? I thought you were with your dad. You missed his retirement, but don't worry. You'll be joining him any minute now by the looks of you. That was when it dawned on Monty. What did you do? Flynn laughed. Oh, what did you do? It's simple. We're in charge of the business now. And who's we? My woman and I. Your woman? My woman. Flynn turned around to look at the front door. Come on in, baby. A good-looking woman in a soaked red satin dress and high heels that reeked of high maintenance stepped inside. It was Lacey. "Lacey?" said a surprised Monty. "What did you do, boy?" "It's easy to understand. My woman and I had a plan of our own all along. I instructed Lacey to start the affair with little Abner the moment I learned of his wife's affair with Dwayne. I made it easy for Dwayne to find out about Lacey. Dwayne and Daisy Mae would make a move to rub off little Abner and put Lacey in the doghouse with him. Dwayne would take care of little Abner while you would take care of both Dwayne and Daisy Mae. Meanwhile, while you're thinking I'm taking care of Lacey, the reality is that she and I were taking care of my dad. Once we took care of my dad, Lacey and I would come here to take care of you. We then wait for Charlie and his crew to get here to give you the last send-off. I gained control of the business with my woman at my side. The end." Monty shook his head and chuckled. "Good luck, 'cause you're gonna need it." Monty then collapsed on the living room floor, dead. Flynn looked down at Monty's corpse with glee and turned to take Lacey in his arms. "We did it, baby, and you played your part well." She moved to kiss him, but instead of a kiss, she received a shot in the gut. Near death, she gasped her last few breaths to say one word. "Why?" "You still banged another guy, and I don't want to think about that, you know. Besides, there's always going to be another." She muttered one final word before succumbing to death. "Bastard." Flynn laughed as he looked down at her. "And it would have been sooner or later that you would have killed me to take the business for yourself. That I can't abide by. Not one damn bit." Flynn laughed some more as he turned around to face the front door. He was both cocky and overconfident. "That was easy, like that Walter Hill movie." He froze at the sound of a gun cocking behind him that followed with a voice. It was Dwayne. He was near death, but with enough life left in him for one last kill. "You got that right. I saw that movie too, Flynn. I'd say that'd make me Bruce Willis at this angle." "And me, Christopher Walken?" said a disappointed Flynn. "Damn, I should have checked the kitchen to see if you're dead. Say, Dwayne, before we go any further with what comes next, we can work something out." "Oh, yeah?" "Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't shoot a man in the back now, would you?" "I've done worse." Dwayne shot Flynn in the back with the remaining 4 shots and watched Flynn fall on his face, dead beside Lacey. Dwayne dropped his gun and fell to the ground, where he began to die, but not before getting the last laugh. Han shot first. He was dead. He was the last. The house had succumbed to a deathly silence. 6 dead bodies, and the house stank of death. 3 men arrived less than 5 minutes later. It was Charlie Goodbye with his 2-man crew, Locust Wheeler and Cletus Anderson. They entered the house excited for a big payoff coming their way. They announced themselves to pause mid-sentence at the sight of Flynn among the dead. Charlie rushed to Flynn's side to check him out while Locust and Cletus stood by the door with the gear in suspense. "Is he dead?" asked Cletus. "Yeah, he's dead," answered Charlie. "Damn," said Cletus. Charlie shook his head in disappointment and stood up. Locust, meanwhile, walked across the room towards Dwayne to check on him. Doesn't take him long to see that he's also dead. He then took a moment to observe the layout of the scene. They all did. "It looks like Dwayne got Flynn in the back while waiting for us to get here," said Locust. Charlie and Cletus observed the scene before them and made the same deduction. "That's what it looks like," said Charlie. They then turned their attention to Lacey beside Flynn. "Did Dwayne tag her as well?" said Cletus. Charlie takes a moment to look at Lacey and then Dwayne on the other side of the room. "No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like Flynn tagged her and then turned his attention to the front to wait for us. He must have assumed Dwayne was dead as well, but Dwayne had enough life left in him to plug Flynn in the back." "Jesus," said Cletus. "He didn't stand a chance." "Check Monty," Charlie said to Cletus. Cletus went to Monty to check on him while Locust rose from Dwayne. "How's Dwayne looking, Locust?" asked Charlie. "Dead," said Locust. "Positive?" said Charlie. "Positive," said Locust. Cletus finished checking on Monty. "Monty's dead as well," said Cletus. "Positive?" said Charlie. "If he ain't, then he's a miracle of the Lord," said Cletus. Charlie shook his head. He checked on Lacey while Cletus walked over to little Abner. "Well, she's dead as well," said Charlie. "Wasn't there supposed to be a second female?" asked Locust. "Check the kitchen," said Charlie. "I have a feeling she might be in there." "Right," said Locust. Locust went into the kitchen. Charlie got up and looked over at Cletus. He was checking out little Abner, but was repulsed by the fact that he had crapped his pants upon dying. This one's dead, too. He crapped his pants, though. Why do they do that? I can never figure that one out. Yeah, they tend to do that. I found her, announced Locust from the kitchen. Is she dead? Said Charlie. She's dead, but... But what? Said Charlie. She didn't die from a gunshot wound. How'd she die? Said Charlie. That's it. I don't know. There's no visible wounds on her. Is there any coffee near her? Asked Charlie. Yeah. Don't drink it, said Charlie. Okay. At that moment, Cletus found the rest of little Abner's six-pack, which consisted of 2 unopened cans. He grabbed one and cracked it open to drink when Locust rejoined them. Seriously, Cletus, said Locust, you're going to pop a cool one now? Why not? Said Cletus. Is there another one for me? Asked Charlie. Yeah. Toss me one, said Charlie. You bet, said Cletus, who tossed the other to Charlie, who wasted no time opening and drinking it. How about one for me? Said Locust. There's no more it's been open, said Cletus. Now there's one that's half full, but given that the one in the kitchen brought it by poison, I wouldn't take a chance on drinking it. But he usually poisons the coffee. You really want to take that chance? Damn, swore Locust. Check the fridge for a beer and grab one if there is one, said Charlie. I'll do that, said Locust. Locust headed back into the kitchen. Don't drink the coffee, said Charlie. Yeah, I won't touch the coffee. We'll wait for you, said Charlie. Found one, reported Locust. Grab it and join us, said Charlie. You bet. Locust rejoined them, and they stood spreading out in the living room among the dead while they drank. So we gonna talk about this shit show? Said Cletus. Yeah, said Locust. Flynn was to pay us to clean up this mess, and he's among the mess. At least we get paid for the other one on the other side of town not too long ago, said Cletus. I mean, he's there to meet us when we arrived, and his tart was with him, who is now dead with him. Yeah, things didn't pan out too well between them. They laughed. You think? Said Charlie. I mean, we hear on the promise of overtime bonuses for each of us for 5 stiffs, said Cletus. Not 6. And to make matters worse, the 6th stiff is the guy that was to pay us. Now it doesn't take a genius to see that we've been stiff since Flynn became a stiff himself. Who's going to pay us? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not working for free. I'm not in this business for my health. I'm in it for the money. There's something else we should consider here for a moment, said Locust. What's that? Asked Cletus. Who's in charge now? What do you mean? Asked Cletus. I mean, look around, said Locust. Any man in line to succeed Harvey's lying dead in this house. Who calls the shots now? Outside of men in this room, there's no clear picture of who's in charge now. He's right, said Charlie. A power vacuum is opened up in the city, and that means there's going to be a war. Where's that leave us? Asked Cletus. Smack down in the middle of it, said Locust. We're a clean-up crew, said Cletus. We're not foot soldiers on the daily operations. We're here, aren't we? Said Locust. What's your point? Said Cletus. My point is that we better consider our next move very carefully, said Locust. It may be a deciding factor on whether we're allowed to continue breathing. Am I right in that assumption, Charlie? You are. So what we do? Said Cletus. Charlie? Charlie rubbed his neck with one hand while he holded his beer in the other. Trust me, that's all I'm thinking about right now. If any of you guys have any ideas, I'm all ears. Well, I'm blank, said Cletus. Drink your beer, said Locust. Some ideas will pop in your brain. Very funny, said Cletus. I wasn't trying to be funny, said Locust. Charlie took a sip of his beer and looked at them both. I've been the cleanup guy for the organization longer than both of you put together. Now, counting both of your guys' years and then some, add up to 32 years. The average lifespan in this business is 6 months. Before, I was in the Marines for 4 years. Now my 3rd year happens to be when the first Gulf War happened. I was showing an overconfident Saddam Hussein that Uncle Sam was still the king of the jungle. And I liked the gunfire and carnage of combat, but before I knew it, it was over. I was sent home with an honorable discharge, and I was out of a job with no skill set other than killing. For a whole week I drank myself to oblivion, till an old friend threw me a lifeline, which was this job. I was a little leery at first, being the guy who did the cleaning after the killing, but the money made me change my tune real quick. Now, the guy who trained me for this job gave me some advice which I shared with you when you both came into this job. Don't politic. Don't get mixed up with the business matters of the organization. Keep your head down, keep your nose clean. And we've done that. And to them, we're no different than a janitor who's paid to sweep the floors and scrub the toilets after office hours. I'm nobody. We're nobodies. That's how we've managed to stay alive and thrive in our end of this business. Now I've seen heavy rollers come and go since I've been the one to give them their last rites. Tonight, no different at first. What do you mean by that? Asked Cletus. There've been occasional jobs where we cleaned up one high roller for another. Always there was someone to pay up afterward, said Charlie. But never before have been in a position where all parties involved killed each other, said Cletus. And stiffed us with the bill, added Locus. Yeah, said Charlie. We get you, Charlie, said Locus. So why not call the next guy in line and get him over here, said Cletus. That's easier said than done, said Charlie. What? Said Cletus. He's right, said Locus. Next in line after these fools are 6 guys, and each of them has enough men and firepower among them to turn this city into the next Chicago. It doesn't matter who we call, there's going to be a war, and should the one we call not be the last man standing after the dust is settled, our position won't be pretty. Well, we got to call somebody, said Cletus. Can't leave things as they are. And why not? Said Locus. No, Locus, said Charlie. As right as you are about one, Cletus is right about the other. If we don't call somebody, it'll not be nice. We'd be no better off than we would be if we called somebody. Wow, that's great. Calm down, Cletus, said Locus. Calm down, spat Cletus. How do you expect me to be calm? Well, do you have any ideas? 'Cause we'd love to hear 'em. Well, my idea is we should all start coming up with some ideas, raved Cletus. Locus shook his head in frustration. Knock it off, both of you. We're only making things worse if we start turning on each other right now. Locus and Cletus backed down. So let's think about this for a damn minute here, said Charlie. The sudden sound of police sirens put an end to their discussion. They pulled out their handguns and rushed for the front window to look out. It's a fuzz, said Cletus. Locus, check the back, said Charlie. Locus rushed to the back of the house to check the back while Charlie and Cletus looked through the window up front. There's no getting out the front, said Charlie. Who you think tipped them off? Does it matter, said Charlie. They're here. Locus rushed back to the front to rejoin them a moment later in a tailspin. There's fuzz all over the place. They're everywhere. What'll we do? Asked Cletus. This ain't good. We can turn ourselves in, said Locus. No good, said Charlie. But we can make a deal, said Locus. No good, said Charlie. Hey, get ready to make a move on us, said Cletus. Charlie looked at them and laid it out before them. It doesn't matter whether we make a deal with them or not, said Charlie. With the connections the business has with the department, we'll be dead in our jail cells within 24 hours. So like I said, it's no good. What we do, said Cletus. We could go out with a bang, said Locus. They both looked at Locus. Why not, said Locus. Guns drawn, guns blazing, Butch and Sundance style, you know. What do you think, Cletus? Asked Charlie. Why not, said Cletus. I mean, we're dead anyway, so we're not in it on our terms, right here, right now. They looked at each other for a moment in silence to ponder a moment before Locus smiled. Yeah, he said, or going to hell anyway. Cletus smiled. Might as well take the handbasket with us, said Cletus. Yeah, said Charlie. Why the hell not? That's when they heard the boots of many cops walking up the front door. All right, boys, spread out, said Charlie. Choose your spot. Take as many of them with as you can. They spread out to different corners of the house and aimed their guns at the front door. I'll see y'all on the flip side of hell, boys, said Charlie. They laughed. A minute later, the cops stormed into the house. 3 minutes later, it was all over. They were dead, and war had come to the city. You've listened to Guns Drawn by Thomas Hyland, narrated by Eric Compton. Thomas Hyland was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. When he isn't writing, he's a volunteer assistant librarian and a courtesy clerk at a grocery store. He lives on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. You can read more about the author at thomashyland.substack.com.